Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Aimee here. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite thrillers throughout the year of 2022. Now, as I was going through all the mystery thriller books that I read for the year, I realized I didn't really have many 5 stars. Anyway, from those 5 stars books that I read, mystery thriller books that I read in 2022, I pulled out my top 5 that, in my opinion, I enjoyed. There were 2 other books that I wanted to mention. They weren't really quite like really. They were mystery thriller. Well, they're more on the lines of mystery instead of thrillers. So the first one is One of Us Is Lying by Karen McManus. This is a YA mystery, but I really had a lot of fun with this book. I really had a good time reading it. Now, I haven't dived into the rest of the series, so this is book 1 of does it have a name for the series? It just says One of Us Is Lying #1. I have not read the sequel to this book, so I need to do that like very soon, like in this year coming up, in the months coming up. But anyway, yes, like I said, I had a really good time with this. It gave me really Breakfast Club vibes, but with a murder happening. So anyway, we follow 4 of our teens in this book, but we have 5 teens that are in detention, and then before the end of detention that day, one of them turns up dead. But the other 4 we follow throughout this book. So let me get their names, because I don't remember their names. But we have Bronwyn, who is the brain. We have Addie, who is the beauty. We have Nate, who is the criminal, and Cooper, who is the athlete. So that right there kind of really gives me Breakfast Club vibes right there. But then Simon is our teen that has turned up dead. And Simon is known for, he came up with this app, and I believe it's like a gossip app for the school. Yes, it's a gossip app, and he loves to spill all the tea in this app. So he is not a favorite amongst the students of the high school, and he has spilled tea about all our 4 characters that we follow in this book, who all have their own dirty little secrets. So they all have a motive for killing Simon. But did any of them do it? Who was it? If none of them did it? It was just so much fun going throughout the book and learning about all our characters, each of them individually, what they did, and why they could possibly be the prime suspect in Simon's murder. I did listen to this book on audio, and I did thoroughly enjoy the narration. But yeah, it was just a really good time, and I just wanted to mention it before we get to the top 5. And then one other one that I want to mention before we get to the top 5 is Finley Donovan is Killing It by Elle Casimano. Another fun read. It's getting, the sun's going down, so I'm filming this later on in the day, so we have some weird lighting over here. I'm trying to move this way. But anyway, another just good, fun, sort of cozy mystery, but I feel like it's a step above a cozy mystery though. There was something about it that I just really, really enjoyed. Not that I don't enjoy cozy mysteries, but this one just had a different feel to it, even though it's still sort of got a cozy type of vibe, because it's fun, it's funny. So Finley is a mom, of course. She's a divorced mom going through a divorce, single mom, just trying to make it happen, trying to make ends meet. So she is an author as well, so she goes to Panera Bread. She goes to meet her publisher or editor at Panera Bread, and as she's talking about like the plot or the going-ons of her next book, someone in the restaurant hears her and immediately thinks she's like this hit woman and hires her to kill her husband. So before Finley knows it, she's curious about about this woman and about why she would want her husband dead. So she takes it upon herself to do a little bit investigating and finds herself in quite a few little pickles. But it was fun and it was entertaining. It was funny. I loved her, and I love how she found sort of like a partner in crime with her babysitter. Great, absolutely loved it. Can't wait to dive into the second book. I have not done that yet. Once again, it will get done this year. But yeah, just a super fun time. There's also a little bit of a romance sprinkled in here as well, of course. But yeah, I had to throw it in there because these were both just really fun and I enjoyed my time with both these books. We're gonna move it over this way. Sorry. The light's starting to move onto my face and the books and everything. So anyway, we're gonna shift it over a little bit. All right, let's get into my top 5. Coming in at number 5, we have The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. I may be the only one that really enjoyed this. Like, I had the best time reading this. I was hoping for more of like that 90s nostalgia, just that vibe, but we don't really get it. We don't get much of it in this book, but it is based off a massacre that took place in 1999 on the New Year's Eve night at a Blockbuster. So, I mean, how much better could it get? But like I said, we don't get much of that in the book. We get a little bit of it in the beginning just to kind of start our story off. But then after that, we go into another story, a more current situation where the same thing, the same type of crime has sort of taken place. We do have a final girl in the massacre from 1999. Her name is Ella, and it is now 15 years later, and like I said, the same sort of crime has happened again in a local dairy shop. So it's starting to bring back a little bit of what happened, and could this be related? Because we know the guy that was accused, and I believe possibly was he put away? I don't remember if he was put away or not, but he is not in prison. So could the accused from the past be back at it again? And where did he go? We also follow an FBI agent. I really enjoyed this character, although some of the scenes that take place with this character, she's 8 months pregnant and she's like just kicking ass everywhere, like jumping over fences. And I mean, it was a little, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know what you can do when you're 8 months pregnant, but it doesn't seem like you can be doing the things that our character was doing in this book. Maybe you can, I don't know, I guess it depends on the person. But that was the only like little bit of like, I don't know if I really, but you know, maybe. I really liked the character though. Her name is Agent Keller, but she was fun. I enjoyed following her around while her and her partner are trying to put the pieces together, and whether this was just a crime committed or does this have something to do with the crime that took place 15 years ago. It was just fun. It was a good time. I had a lot of fun with it. Coming in at number 4, we have The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. Also, I think I did listen to this on audio. The audio was fantastic. It was done by a cast of characters, I believe. Yes, it was a cast of narrators, which I love. I love when our characters have different voices. So great audio for that one. Also fantastic audio for this one. Catherine Steadman herself reads her book, and she does a fantastic job. She has that haunting voice that I love, that really puts something into the story. So we're following Harriet Reed in this book, or Harry. She is just recently engaged to a Edward Hallbeck. Is Hallbeck? Yes, she's never met his family. He's sort of a little bit estranged from his family, but when his sister tracks Harry down and invites them to Thanksgiving dinner, that's kind of where things just take off from there. And this family likes to play these games over the holidays. So this does take place from Thanksgiving all the way through to New Year's. So a great wintry holiday read. There's also a death in the family that's a little bit mysterious to Harry. There's also Edward's father that's very intimidating man, and he sort of approaches Harry at their first encounter and gives her these tapes. He tells her it's a book. Harry is an author, and she is currently working on a book, and he tells her this is his story, this is his book. She's not sure of what she's gonna, end up listening to. So this family has like dark secrets. She doesn't know who she can trust in this family, but Harry herself has a little bit of a dark past, and she feels threatened by this family and what they may know, or what the father may know about her past. I was all in on this book. I was very intrigued and interested, on the edge of my seat. When we get to like the last part of the book where one of the games takes place, it gets pretty intense. And I just really had a good time with it, and it was one of my favorite reads of the year. Coming in at number 3, we have Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I didn't have very high hopes for this one after reading the other misses, but this was really good. Again, I did listen to this book on audio, and it was narrated by a cast of characters. So we have many voices to our characters here. So the book starts us off 11 years ago. We get a prologue about a local woman that has gone missing. She goes out for a run and she never returns. And then shortly after, another woman goes missing along with her daughter. So the daughter's name is Delilah. Delilah. So we hear from Delilah throughout the book as she's telling us her story of like current events of what's taking place. We also follow her brother Leo, and we follow just a bunch of other people that are involved from either the past or in current times. But I was very fascinated with this story because we are hearing from Delilah herself and where she's at and what's happening, and like why was she taken, or where is she, and why are we like following her events throughout this book. And then all of a sudden she shows back up, like she's not missing anymore, and everybody's going nuts. Everybody wants answers. So many mysteries behind all this, so many questions. It just kept me really engaged. This was also one where I didn't see it coming at all. Sometimes I can kind of feel like where our book is taking us, but I had no clue with this one. It was a really good time. Number 2 is Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough. This is very hard to explain without giving anything away. So what I will say is this is about a woman who's going to be turning 40. She has a great career, she has a great husband, but she's starting to have trouble sleeping. So her name is Emma, by the way. She has a little bit of a past where her and her sister were brought up through foster care due to her mother sort of going insane a little bit. When her mother turned 40, she also was not able to sleep, and she eventually just went nuts without getting any sleep. So from there, Emma and her sister were put into the foster system, and now we have Emma, who feels like she is sort of going through the same thing. So this is not as good as Behind Her Eyes. Behind Her Eyes will always be my favorite Sarah Pinborough, but it was right up there with it. It was still a very good and just fascinating read. I thought it was fast-paced, lots of good twists and turns at the end. And what I really like about Sarah Pinborough, although I've only read this book in Behind Her Eyes, she puts in like this sort of supernatural realism, is what I want to call it, into her stories that just fascinate me. In this book though, I find it was more, I want to use the word more believable, say, than in Behind Her Eyes, but in this one I felt like it was something that was more realistic and that it could possibly happen, but it was still like sort of a supernatural kind of vibe once we get to the end, once we realize what's all going on. Loved it. I may be one of the few that really loved this book. As I was going through other reviews, I didn't see many 5 stars, but I liked it. Like I said, it's not as good for me as Behind Her Eyes, but it's right up there. It's right next to it. Okay, number 1. I knew this was gonna be my number 1 thriller of the year when I was just sitting there thinking about all the thrillers I read throughout the year. This was the first one that popped up in my head. So this is Yes, Daddy. This is by Jonathan Parks Ramage. I feel like you can't really see it when it's tangled up in the books over here. But first of all, love the book, love the cover, love the whole summer vibe we got here. This does have many trigger warnings. We have rape, abuse, depression, suicide, just trauma, PTSD. The list could go on and on. But again, I think I said this in about one of my books in my last video, it's not graphically told as far as like the rape goes. It's happening, you know it's there, but it's very well written and woven into the story. I just like to say that just because that's a huge trigger for me. I just don't like reading about it or having graphic details in a story about it. Hard pass here. So yeah, I just like to make it known that when it is in a book, but it is very well done in here. It's very well woven into the story where you know what's happening, but it's not too involved. Anyway, so we have Jonah. We have Jonah's story here. So the book starts us off where we are in a courtroom with Jonah, where he makes like this shocking statement, and then we jump right into his story from the beginning. So Jonah is an aspiring playwright, and he meets a very famous playwright. I think his name was Richard. Yes, Richard Shriver. They quickly become lovers, and then Richard invites Jonah to his estates in the Hamptons. And this is where the true story begins. And it was a bit of a horror story, in my opinion. Jonah is like telling his story to someone the entirety of the book, and you don't really know who he's talking to. You find out, of course, later on in the book. But it was just so well done, just such a good, well-written story. I actually originally had it in my most surprising reads, but I took it out because it was my favorite thriller of the year. Like, it immediately popped in my head that I wanted this to be probably my number 1. But it was also surprising to me because I didn't hear much about this book. But yeah, I was just blown away by this book, and I definitely want to look out for more by this author, because just the writing style and just the way the story was told was just, it was great. I absolutely loved it. I also listened to this on audio, and the audio is fantastic as well. So yeah, there you have it. My number 1 thriller of the year, Yes, Daddy. So that's it. That's all my favorite mystery thrillers I read throughout the year of 2022. Let me know in the comments what your favorite books were in 2022, or your favorite mystery thrillers. Were any of these on that list? Let me know down in the comments and we'll talk about it. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget about my giveaway. Go watch the first video that started the 2022 wrap-up, I guess what I'm gonna call it. It's my DNF'd video, the books I DNF'd in 2022. Go watch that one. I'll have it linked down below. It has the details of the giveaway. I'm giving away 4 books that I DNF'd in that video. Just all you have to do is like that video, be subscribed to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and comment in that video what book you would like to win or have from me. So yeah, don't forget to do that if you want to participate. No worries if you don't. But anyway, again, thank y'all so much for being here. Hope y'all are having a wonderful year so far. Hugs from me all around, and I'll see y'all very soon in another video. Bye y'all.